I just hated reading that book because I hated feeling like that's how you saw me. Because I guess you know me better than anybody, and if you think that, um, I guess my question is, do you think it's too late for me? I mean, am I just doomed to be the person that I am, the person in that book? I mean, it's not too late for me, is it? It's not too late, Diane. I need you to tell me that it's not too late. I need you to tell me that I'm a good person. I know that I can be selfish and narcissistic and self-destructive, but underneath all that, deep down, I'm a good person, and I need you to tell me that I'm good. Diane, tell me, please, Diane, tell me that I'm good.
The show BoJack Horseman provides profound commentary on what it means to be human. Behind the irony and cartoonish facade lies a unique take on classic existentialist philosophy, as characters seek to find meaning in a meaningless world. Though the show never explicitly provides a solution for its characters, at least in the 3 episodes selected for this class, it nevertheless defines what makes life insignificant and allows the audience to draw their own conclusions regarding how they should live a significant life in a world void of meaning. The purpose of this video is to analyze moments in Season 1, Episodes 1, 11, and 12 with tools provided by existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. Jean-Paul Sartre was a French philosopher who found immense interest in theories of the self and our sociological relationship to others. In perhaps his most influential work, No Exit, Sartre provides commentary regarding his theories of the self. No Exit is a play that follows 3 characters who have died and have found themselves in hell. They wait in a lobby for the torturer to come take them away and converse amongst themselves to pass the time. But slowly, it becomes clear that there is no torturer. The characters eventually conclude that their torture is living together for all of eternity. Here, Sartre famously concludes that hell is other people. This conclusion is not unfounded. Throughout the play, Sartre alludes to his philosophy that he elaborates on in other, more direct philosophical works. In particular, Sartre believed in a subject-object relationship between all social beings. This relationship is displayed throughout the play, as Sartre argues that our primary source of turmoil in a social setting comes from the fact that because each individual has free will, they are free to make their own decisions. As such, subjects cannot always get what they want or need from other subjects. This is the primary argument that Sartre makes in Being in Nothingness when defending his position regarding why romantic love is doomed to fail. Often, lovers describe their partners with objectifying language, as being mine, and rely on their partners to bring them happiness. However, true love requires that we at least recognize our partner's subjectivity, that we realize that our partners have free will. Sartre argues that the freedom of others is reason enough for anguish. In romantic love, the lover should recognize the humanness of their partner, yet the thought of their free will, the thought that they could just leave you, is enough to terrify anyone. And through this uncertainty, love can become objectifying. The lover can become the object in the relationship because they deny their free will in the name of love. They deny their authentic selves because they believe that this form of themselves is what their partner wants. Alternatively, the lover can become the objectifier, as they seek to control the feelings of the other in an effort to keep their partner in love with them. Who wants someone to fall out of love with them? At the same time, everybody wants their partner to love them in a world where they are free to love anyone. Thus, the lover wants their partner to be both a subject and an object. This contradiction to Sartre is why romantic love is doomed to fail. Note that Sartre still believes that we need love from others to live a fulfilling life. In his book Nausea, Sartre depicts a character who lives alone and eventually has an existential crisis. He states, quote, "Perhaps it is impossible to understand one's own face, or perhaps it is because I am a single man. People who live in society have learned how to see themselves in mirrors as they appear to their friends. I have no friends. So is that why my flesh is so naked?" Sartre clearly sees the relevance of recognition from other people. He sees that we rely on others to build our identities through our relationships. So though he believes that hell is other people, he doesn't deny that we still need other people. At the forefront of the show are BoJack's relationships with others. Consider Princess Carolyn, for example, and notice the dynamic between her and BoJack. Clearly, he is an absolute piece of shit to her. He does not want to have a genuine relationship with her, and instead uses her for his own selfish gains, for sex, validation, etc. In Sartrean words, BoJack is objectifying her. He is disregarding her subjectivity to selfishly fulfill his own existential needs. Yet Princess Carolyn selflessly continues to advocate for BoJack, even though she recognizes this selfish behavior. Even after their breakup, she continues to satisfy BoJack's self-centered behavior instead of just leaving him. Thus, she allows herself to be objectified by ignoring her own free will. Instead of seeking the unconditional love she deserves, she settles for suboptimal lovers like Vincent Adultman, perhaps because she fears being alone. The relationship between these characters perfectly exemplifies the subject-object dynamic described by Sartre. Another example of these Sartrean tropes lies in BoJack's need to be loved by everyone. It seems that every decision he makes is done to try to make others love him. He wants his book to depict him as a mighty horse stud. He wants to go back to the days of horsing around, and etc. But he is in constant turmoil because people do not love him. This is what Sartre meant by hell is other people. BoJack needs for everyone to love him, yet people have the free will to not satisfy this condition for him. This explains BoJack's objectifying behavior throughout the show. He fears the free will of others and tries to force others to love him. So what's the solution? The immediate thought might be to live a life of complete isolation. If hell is truly other people, then shouldn't we just ignore others? Shouldn't we simply not care what others think and instead live only for ourselves? I do not think this is the solution the show is alluding to. Consider Mr. Peanut Butter, for example. A defining trait of this character is his lack of genuineness in his social interactions. At parties, he's always leaving conversations to talk to other people. He even knowingly undermines Diane's source of happiness.
The universe is a cruel, uncaring void. The key to being happy isn't to search for meaning, it's to just keep yourself busy with unimportant nonsense, and eventually you'll be dead.
Well, I guess I can keep my options open.
Great!
This is clearly a dissociation with social interactions, yet the show portrays him as the villain of BoJack's life. Therefore, social dissociation cannot be the solution. Another scene that defends this notion is the opening of episode 12. Here, Secretariat is seen in an interview. When asked by a young BoJack what to do when we get sad, this is what he says.
BoJack, when you get sad, you run straight ahead, and you keep running forward no matter what. There are people in your life who are going to try to hold you back, slow you down, but you don't let them. Don't you stop running, and don't you ever look behind you. There's nothing for you behind you. All that exists is what's ahead.
Then, moments later, he takes his own life. The order of these scenes communicates to the audience that Secretariat was wrong. The correct response to sadness is not to suppress your feelings. You should not simply keep running away from your problems. You should not try to isolate yourself from others because they're holding you back or slowing you down. Instead, the show seems to be communicating that others are a necessary part of our lives. Again, social dissociation cannot be the solution. Rather, the show is validating BoJack's need to feel loved. During the drug trip scene in episode 11, we see important parts of BoJack's psychology. We see his insecurities and his past traumas, but we also see a subtle yet incredibly powerful use of formal features.
What the? Whoa! Okay, stay calm. I don't have outlines anymore. That's okay. There's no boundary between me and space. This is a thing that happens. Oh!
This subtle scene is used to show an incredibly important realization to BoJack. He does not know who he is. He does not know what separates himself from the outside world, what makes him unique. And as mentioned in Sartre's Nausea, this lack of self-realization of identity is due entirely to his lack of love from others. Obviously, we are not expected to root for BoJack. He is a selfish, narcissistic prick who hurts everyone in his life because of his objectifying behaviors. So what are we to learn from this show? First, it is clear that love is important. But note that the show does not emphasize just any sort of love. Love is defined as forgiveness, as seeing the humanness of others, and as authentic expressions of the self. Moments of love are shared when characters are at their most vulnerable. Thus, love is also the willingness to be responsible for the well-being of others. Importantly, the show asserts that we cannot find this sort of fulfillment in ourselves alone. Through this definition of love, we are provided with a critique for the BoJack archetype. The show preaches that we must be altruistic. We must be genuine in our interactions. We must cherish the humanness of others, and we must be prepared to put others before ourselves. The show denies that we need only ourselves, and that instead we must live for other people to find love and live a fulfilling life. However, we should not be so selfless as to tolerate unfair treatment. As shown by Princess Carolyn, it is important and necessary for our well-being to set boundaries on the BoJacks of our lives. Importantly, if we want to find love from others, we must first recognize and celebrate their autonomy and free will.